I'm Larry Powell. This is my home. This is going to be takedown tape number 2, and one of my students, Brendan Finch, is going to be helping me with this. Brendan, come on over. And on takedown tape number 1, we did quite a bit talking about different setups and tie-ups, and got into the double leg takedown, got some finishes, got some a little bit in terms of what we might go into for pins on some of that. And also we talked about the philosophy of the takedowns, the way that I try to approach it, and we ended up with just a real important movement at the end, which was our hand plant series. And as you recall, there were like 5 options off of that hand plant series that really do a nice job. And then a 6th option is a way that we can get around on a whizzer situation and hooking the leg, dragging the leg out. So I'm going to refer you to that tape to check that stuff out if you haven't looked at it. We're going to go on here a little bit. I'll be talking about different setups related to the different series that we're going to do here, and some ways of finishing them. And again, we're always looking for pins. Once we get the guy taken down, we're looking for pins on the way down, and as he lands, and after he lands. We're always looking for back points. And one of the things that we started doing there, the hand plant single, was sort of a secondary move if we got caught underneath, and it's just wonderful. But we've also got the single legs, the single leg sweep, the single leg, the high crotch series, and the single leg, and the single leg snatch. These are just what I refer to these as. So I'm going to go through those real quick here also and give you some ideas. As far as the single leg sweep, remember, I like to do all my stepping if possible outside. So if I were coming at Brendan here and I had made a good step, to sweep this leg, I would probably just be hooking around the knee area with my lead hand, and I'm not going to keep facing him. I'm going to swing my trailing leg around behind. And so as I do that, my ear would be to the inside, my shoulder would be here, and a lot of times, whatever I did for a setup might allow me to pop into him a little bit so that his weight is going to go over onto that other foot. At that point, if his weight goes over there a little bit, then this trailing hand, as I swing my leg around, is just going to snatch at the ankle, and I'm just going to keep walking. Now, this is very important. I'm not going to stand in front of him. I'm going to be backing up around the side. How many steps do I take? It all depends. Because as I have this hold, I'm not going to stay in this hold very long. I've got the one arm under the leg, one arm around the ankle area, and what I'm trying to do is slide my hand down to the heel. And I'm trying to hold right on the back of that shoe with my forearm up and down at the sole of his foot. That starts giving me some control all the way up to his hip joint here. And as I pick this up and start walking around, I try to catch it as quickly as possible. Now, I would stop circling at the point that I felt secure, and that I would go ahead and try to finish the thing, because I don't want to be dancing too long up here. So I got him hopping around. When I go to take him down, here are some of the finishes that I would suggest. Number 1, are we around the tape here pretty good? Yep. Okay. Number 1, the camera's over here, right? Yeah. I would keep a hold of this back of the shoe, and I like to step with the leg that's right under that hand that I'm holding a shoe with. So that's my first step. My second step is going to be a kneeling step. I'm going to kneel down like that. I don't want to sling him. I don't want to swing him around. I want to make him go down. So as I go, I'm going to either chop with my forearm, the one that was holding under the knee, chop on the thigh to try to make him go as straight down as possible, make him sit down. Or a lot of times I'll just leave my arm under here and I'll take, if my ear had been in there, I'll take the cheekbone on the same side. So my left ear was in toward his belly when I picked it up. It'll be my left cheekbone. And as I step around and go to kneel, I'll bang my cheekbone right on his thigh here. Boom, right there. And I just knock him right straight down to his seat. Now at this point, I never want to fall down with him. I never want to be in his level. Now there's choices here for him. He could try to throw his free leg over and turn and make sure that he doesn't get caught on his back right there. In which case, if he tries to do that, go ahead and do that. I'm going to try to block that knee right there. And as I do, I'm going to try to slide closer and maybe catch that leg up in the air. And so now he's got a problem. Now he'd be turning back the other way. Let's turn around here. He'd be turning back the other way here. And so if I could ever catch that far leg like that, if he started to come over, then I'll block him down in here with my hands, try to mash his shoulders right down, be pulling up on this leg, got his other leg up on the table, and I'm going to slide closer and try to lock up real nice here. This is a bad cradle for him. Very bad cradle. Okay, that's one possibility. The other one would be, most likely, he's going to try to turn down like that. Okay? And as he's trying to go like that, let's come back now. I just took him down, I made him sit, and I had my hand on that heel. That controls that leg pretty good. So we don't want to let go of that when we land. And a lot of guys will just let go of it. So I'm going to control that, and as I said, that controls up to his hip pretty good. Now, I know he's going to try to turn that way if he's already started. And as he does, I'm going to keep control of this out here on the end. And I've got my other hand on his hip joint. So as he starts to turn down, I'm going to pull this and quickly try to step across real high up by his hip joint here. If I can get to there, even though he tries to turn down now, he's got a problem right now. Now, what do I have? Well, there's different directions I could go with this. Number one is I could take my hand, reach down, and try to get a claw. Go right down and point my fingers down his spine right here. And as he's turning, I'm going to try to get under his chin and start driving that up. This is almost like I've got a step-through Turk, but it's not exactly a step-through Turk. So that's one possibility. Another possibility might be I'll try to go under here and get a cradle. So I jam my elbow all the way to his knee, get a cradle. And then I would get my leg back out of there, and there's ways to get this cradle up in the air. Okay? Another way, let's say I didn't lock my hands, but I trapped his arm right here. We know from our penning tape how to bring him up and either lock him, or usually I don't try to lock him. I just sit through, take him back, and then lock on the way over. So that's a cradle. So that's just trapping his arm. But once I've stepped over here and have this leg up in here, this is good stuff. This is very good stuff. And also, there's something called, I usually would just do like a facelift situation, or a claw to a facelift, or a bottom arm to work it into maybe a cradle back up in here. That's what I pretty much do. But you can also go down into a front guillotine. And that is if I could scoop my knee or my heel under his leg here and get him trapped on his back. Now I'm into a front guillotine. If I pull that leg toward me and I'm making him bulge out on the side and pulling both ends like that, that's a front guillotine. I like the first things better than the front guillotine. Okay, so let's look at this again. Once I pick this up, I'm moving around, hop around, and I'm catching this ankle right away. Then I would be stepping back in, kneeling, using my cheek or my forearm to knock him down. Okay, here's another possibility. I'm here, all of a sudden I'm going to bring that thigh up against where my hand is, except I'm going to pull my hand out of the way and squat down and get both arms under. Now at this point, I come up before he can go flipping out of this. Now right here, I'm sort of watching for him what he's going to do with his, I don't want to make him fall, really. I want to get a pin here instead of just get a takedown. So his right hand oftentimes will my neck or something. And whenever that happens, I'm going to catch it over his far shoulder if I can, right on the side of that, what is that? Collarbone area. Okay, but it's a nice hold. If I can't get that far, I'll get the near one. Okay, but now I'm right there, and I'm just going to keep this up high, step around and kneel again and pull him right down to his seat. And as he lands, now I try to drive for the cradle. And if I can get my shoulder behind that knee and lock right straight up like this, that's going to be a pin right there. Otherwise, I'll just come off into a regular cradle. Okay. I think we got that right.
Yeah.
In the picture, all right, let's step back this way a bit. Okay, so that's a possibility when I'm in here. Now, I know people just step and yank. I don't care for that. And you could get in a situation where maybe you have a slam or something on that. So I like to do that. So I'm up in here. Now, if he doesn't grab for me, which is not very common, you usually either try to whizzer me or, yeah, right in there. See if he starts doing that. Even if he does that, see where his hand is here? See, I can glom onto all kinds of stuff and go in here, and now I can pop my head down against him. Boom, right there, he's going to go down. And if I keep his wrist, now I can come in here and try to do some nastiness there. So there's just really good stuff if we just start watching for it up in there. Okay, now let's face that. Okay, thank you. All right, now that's with my arms up in here like that. And he doesn't have to grab me. You know, if he's just starting to, you know, just dance around, I can catch this hip joint right there. I can reach right around and catch this hip joint, step and make him go down also. Or trip that foot right there and kneel down. But I don't want to fall down with him. Okay. Now I do one more from here, which is sort of fun, and that is I'm up in here, same thing, and all of a sudden I squat down real quick and run this leg over my shoulder. So I lift it up, and then I squat and put it over my shoulder facing right here. Now, as soon as it's there, he usually will reach and try to hold on to me. If he does, I come right up and get a lock right around his neck. Now this guy's in trouble, I got to be careful. Okay, number one, I control it. So I'll step, kneel, and put him down, or I'll step right behind him and put him down. See? And I can just put him right down and pin him right there. Stay right behind that leg and pin him. Come right up on my toes and pin him. But you control it. Don't slam him. You're responsible. And I'll tell you what, they almost always grab. Now, the thing about that is, when you're here, don't make him fall down. Squat and don't stand way up. Don't make him fall. You won't get the cradle. But as I start coming up, he might, you know, I might get him right here. Whether he grabs him there or not, I might get him. So I like that, because you never know what they're going to do. And just, you know, I grab him right away. When I turn and face him, I come up and try to grab him right away. Sort of fun. Okay, one other thing about this leg. We okay?
Let's come back a little bit, and I'm trying to get your shoulder that way.
Thank you. All right. One thing about this leg. Camera over here?
No, right over there.
Whoa. Okay. All right. And that is, I could wrap it around, all the way around. Let's walk back around this way. And when I wrap it around like this with my arm, what I will do is grab my own forearm here, put my hand on his knee, and try to turn his knee in like that. And as I do that, I'm trying to put him down. I back around and try to put him down. Now I'm not going to get big points out of this, but it does help to get him down. Okay, and he's not going to jump out of it. So anytime I can wrap this, I'll get right in here on him like that. And then I'll walk around backwards and try to put him down. Now, once he touches the mat, I want to show you this one. Once he touches the mat, his hip joint again is something I'm going to grab in a second. What I'm going to do is step across his other leg, let loose of the hold, grab, and as I take him this way, you can see the direction I'm going, I'm going to also step and kick right here. And look at, we're back in the same position we were in earlier here. So if I can just somehow catch him, step across, now we're in trouble again. This is a nice position. Don't just let a guy go down and not be scored on any further. Okay, so that can be a fun one right there. All right, so that's a little bit about what I like to do with the sweep. And the sweep, to get into the sweep, you could use any of the type of setups that we would use for a double. You're just clearing out one side. And so, for example, let's turn this way. For example, maybe I'll do the elbow pull. And so, now, if he's got his hand on my shoulder, elbow pull isn't quite as good as if it was on my head. This is even better. But right there, I could go inside and pull that way. Anything to beat one elbow that we're trying to do all the time. And so here it is. There's my step, and I'm going to start coming around right here and fishing for his heel and start working with it. So I'm not going to stay under it. I'm going to swing that thing around. Now, if you ever get caught down on the mat, go ahead on down here, and I'm trying to pick up the leg here. I'm trying to sweep the leg here. Got to be careful on what you're doing here. You start stepping up, and if you're over this leg and you start to step up like this, he may start doing all kinds of goofiness. He may start reaching over and doing some kind of spladle stuff or whatever. So you got to be very careful about your outside leg when you're starting to do that kind of thing. That's why hand plant, if I'm working hand plant, there's no spladle stuff here. I don't get into that kind of trouble when I'm doing hand plants here because the wrong leg is up for him to try to counter. So you got to be very careful if you're going to try to take that leg up when you're down on the mat. It can be done, but I'm just warning that you got to be very careful about what leg comes up and how quick you do it. So personally, I would go into more of the elbow out stuff and the hand plant stuff and some other things down there instead of trying to pick the leg up and walk around. I know that other people have other philosophies. They want to always get up on their feet, but I'm not convinced that that's always the best thing to go up on the feet. Okay, that's what I would say about the single leg sweep, the way that I like to see it done. I don't get real concerned about the hand holds and stuff because I don't want to be holding that leg very long. Okay, what's our time now?
17.
Okay, here we go. Next thing is what I refer to as the high crotch stuff, and again, I have a few finishes that I like to do, and I don't believe the high crotch type of takedown is for everyone. I think a guy that's real nice and compact has an easier time doing a high crotch. That doesn't mean a lankier kid couldn't, but that's just my viewpoint, that a real compact guy also doesn't help. I mean, it doesn't hurt if you're fast, if you're quick, but the skill is the key. The skill in getting the setups, I think, has a lot to do with it. Right off the bat, I want you to understand that there's different styles of high crotch from what I've learned. And some of them, the arm is way high up in the crotch. Some of them is only just catching down around the knee, just snagging. And I sort of subscribe to that one because I'm really not doing a lot with that leg. I'm just snagging it and then moving on. I'm not trying to stay high up in the crotch at all. I'm doing some other things with the style that I do. The big problem that you got to be careful about is whatever kind of setup you do or takedown you do, setup and movement that you do for a high crotch, don't turn your body sideways like that. Because now if he happens to sprawl, go ahead and sprawl, and he could cross-face me, I'm just in a real bad position right here. I just don't want to be there. And that's what tends to happen a lot of times when you're not very skilled at this and you're not paying attention. You start turning your shoulders, turning your body. So I'm really going to harp on that here. Don't do this and turn. You want to stay as square as you can. So for example, if I do that inside arm pull right here, again, I like to take an outside step. I know a lot of guys do it with the inside, but I just want to take one step and get there. And so as I pull, he's hopefully coming toward me a little bit. And as I step, everything will work out well. But I'm not going to turn my shoulders. I'm going to pull, my head goes outside, and my shoulder goes right at his hip joint. I took one step and dropped in on my knee, slid in on my knee. Now at this point, if I've done a nice job of setting this up, if he's falling over me, I'm not going to stop him. I'm going to let him go. I'm not going to stop him and go off into some other kind of a finish here. I'm going to let that momentum keep going. So the way I do this, I call this the low finish. You don't necessarily have to be on your knee. You could just be near the mat and do this. But I'm on my knee right now just to go through it. I'm going to use that knee as a spinner right there. And as I do this, the outside leg that I've stepped with is going to come in and chop. Let's turn sideways now so that they can see. Is this good?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm here, and I'm going to chop my thigh into the back of his leg here. I'm going to make my face go right past his ribs here and wipe the sweat off my brow. This hand that's snagged is no longer going to be there. It's going to reach back and go onto the mat. This arm out here, when this leg comes in, this arm goes in. I double up my fist so I won't get my fingers trapped, and I jam my arm through, trying to make my bicep go to the back of his thigh right here. So I'm popping him in the calf and knee area with my inside of my thigh, so that's the low part of his leg. I'm attacking the high part of his leg with my arm. I'm spinning, reaching for the mat with a post here, and pinching my legs together. So I end up with three things around this leg at the end. Both legs, pinching, and my one arm. So as he's starting to fall that way, I'm just going to spin, and there he is, right there. So I end up in this position, hand on the mat, both thighs pinching, and my arm. He may fall all the way down if I did a great setup and got him falling, or he may catch himself back up here a little ways. Either way, when I finish in a low position, he may pause. And so I want to be looking to go ahead and throw that pinhole. What I would do for pinhole, we're getting close to the wall, are we?
No, we're facing the camera now.
Oh, are we? Okay, okay. Let's turn this way a little bit here. Okay. All right. Now, at this point, what I'm going to do, as soon as his knee gets anywhere near the mat, the arm that was around his leg is going to go over, and I'm going to catch his far ankle right away with that hand. I'm going to do something I normally would never do, but in this case, it's okay. I'm going to drop my head and shoulders and spear them through his body. Normally, I don't reach through like that with my head and shoulders. As I do, my hand out here is trying to block his far knee at the mat, right with my little finger on the mat. And so as I do this, see, I'm still around his leg here. And so I'm going here, I'm trying to dive through, block to here. Now, I've knocked him down. I don't want to stay here. As soon as his hip starts to go, I get on my feet, and I don't look at him, but I jump up here to try to catch over his head. And notice that my head now is lined up with his hip joint, and here's an inside cradle situation if I want it. Here's a step through Turk if I want it. We'll go on in for a knee split, a split crotch if I want it, and start working on facelift and claw, doing a claw, that kind of stuff. So I've got some good things going. Okay. Now, when we finish this, hopefully he pauses. Now let's turn sideways to that camera again. Okay. So I'm in here, and let's say he grabs my head this time. So I'm right on that elbow pull now with all four fingers inside. My elbow flips up. Don't turn your body sideways. My elbow flips up. I take my step. I'm going here, and as I snag, now I do my spin, wipe the sweat off my face, popping right here. And then I would go in for my finish right there and try to catch him on his back. Now, what happens if we don't do it real well, or he's got great balance and he's still standing? I'm going in here, and I'm doing this, and he catches himself right there. Now we flank him. I've got my thighs around him. I got my arm around him. He caught himself with that foot right there. He's not gone down, so I just jam my arm right through the back of his knee, and my head and shoulders go up, and I flank him. And he falls right there. Now look what I do. I've got my hand posted on the mat. He's split out right now. I could come inside with my knees and start splitting him and move up. I could stay here and come around to the side and start working in here. I got a Navy situation, sort of up to me as far as what I think I'm good at right there. I would probably go in for a split crotch right there. That looks mighty tempting to me. Okay, so one more time. This is always the case. If he somehow catches himself, whoops, I'm in too deep here. Okay, right here. Catches himself as I spin. He catches himself right there. Whack, right there. And now we got him in trouble. I go right in here, start working up. Right there. Okay. Thank you, Brendan.
Yes.
All right. Now, that's the low finish right there. Okay, and low single on the what I call the low finish on the high crotch single leg. Okay, we sideways here?
Yep.
Okay, now, here we go. I'm going to do the double. As I do this, and I'll turn this way for this double. As I step in, again, I don't have to touch the knee. I could just get low. Again, I want to have my shoulder right at his hip joint. But I'll be on my knee right now. Okay, as I do this, I'm going to try to go diagonally across him. I don't want to lift my hips, and I don't want to lift my shoulders. I want to keep my hips under my shoulders. Okay, so I'm here. Now, we practice changing hands. The outside hand comes in, changes with the other hand, and I end up going right up here around his, sort of at his hip joint, right there. That's where I want to be. You need to just sit here and practice until your arms get very quick with boom, 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 boom. You need to get, just so after a while, it's like a blur. So that as you snag him here, it's a boom, boom. And that's all taken care of right there. Now, I'm going to drive my shoulder across toward his far hip joint, not try to get any taller as I bring this knee up and step across with this right foot. So I'm pushing off my outside left foot, and as I go change right to there, I'm not going to try to get any taller. I'm going to try to stay there and put the weight right over there in that leg. I don't want to lift him right now. I'm driving him over there, and I start walking around, and he has to start hopping a little bit. And as he hops, I got choices. I can try to step through here, and that's usually what I do, and put him down for a split crotch. I could lift this and step through and over for a step through turn. That's a little more athletic. I prefer to do things less athletic a lot of times, especially the older I get. Okay, so as I'm in here and I've shot in, right here, I'm going to do change, try not to get any taller, try to drive diagonally across, get the weight over there so that this leg comes up. Walk, step through, put him down. I didn't want to go all the way down with him, but I would have in a match. Okay, that's the way I like to finish that. Now, we have low ceilings here, and I'm not going to do a big lift job on him. Normally, I try to get guys not to lift, but when we do a proper high crotch, we can lift without using a lot of strength, without using a lot of energy. And all I'm looking for in the lift is to pop him up in the air and turn and let one leg reach down for the mat so that he ends up in the same position that we were just in. And so we end up in that same finish. We could either do the step through for a crotch, a split crotch, or we could do the step through Turk, either way. Okay, and the way this works, and I'm not going to do a big lift job on him right now, but if I'm in here and I stay up, I don't go to my feet here. At this point, this outside hand is going to go rear crotch, and we're going to change over to here again. Same kind of a motion that we just did when we were down here. Same motion, except I'm going change. This back leg is moving up. And as I bring this leg up, we've changed. I'm going to turn and pop my groins right up, my abdomen and my groins, right up into the side of his leg here. and he will pop up in the air, right there. Then I turn, let him reach for the mat with that one foot, and then I'll either step over or trip through. Okay, so this lift is, let's turn this way now.
Sideways.
Yep. And so if I'm in here and I'm coming around, right here, as I make this turn now, change, I dip my hips and I pop right up into it. And then I let that go right away. Turn him and let that leg go. Let him touch. Okay. There are other finishes, other ways to go. I just find if I do the high crotch, one of those three ways, I'm in good shape. I usually favor the first two. Hardly ever would do the last one. But you know, the last one can be useful. Let's say we're wrestling, and I didn't show this in the bottom, or I mean the breakdown tape. But if I'm wrestling in here, and I'm good with this, I possibly could step out to the side like this, put that arm around, drop quickly, and pop right up in there and get him down in the air again. I didn't dip my hips quite as low as I probably should have. Right there. I don't like to do that. I don't like to give the guy that much space. But if you're good with it, it might be good, because not only will you bring him down, but you'll put him on his back with that, potentially. Okay. What's our time now?
31.
All right, here we go. Next thing is one of my favorites, really, and this is what I refer to as the snatch, leg snatch. And I know that the single leg snatch means a lot of different things, a lot of different people, and there's knee snatches and knee picks and on and on and on, all kinds of terminology. But what I like about this is, as I attack this knee, I maybe shot in again and banged into him a little bit, got the weight back over there, and then I'm just trying to snatch this leg. I'm not worried about my grip, because I'm not going to hold it just for a second or so. All I'm going to do is just try to get my hands around, and what I like to do is to get my outside hand around first and my inside hand on top of that, or across it. Just enough to yank it up, and I'm going to squat so that it comes to my gut. I'm going to try to pull his knee up to my gut. What happens there is I'm going to also have his lower leg go between my legs. Now, if I just let that go, there's different things we could do. For example, if I pull it up to here and squat again, now it's up on my chest, and I pull that foot of his tight up into my crotch. He can't hurt me or anything. Now, this is not a bad deal right here. This is not bad at all. When I stand up like this, you see how close he's going to be to me? I might catch his head now, right there. I might grab my own arm right there to help me keep his leg up. And now, I can trip him down, something like that. So that's not bad. And you can really suck that up. I even know where guys go here, and you can actually even drop and get under him and try to lift him with this one leg. It just depends on how he's moving, where his weight is. You try to get under him. I don't do that. I don't bother with it. Also, once you get it sucked up here, you can come down, grab that heel again, swing your leg out, and there it is again. So, and there's others from here. What I prefer to do, though, is if I suck this up, I'm immediately starting to run backwards. Let's go way over by the register here. I really like this because anybody can do this that can just get the leg pulled up. So as we grab around the leg, we're squatted, we pull it up as we start walking back right away. And the way you would practice this is to get real comfortable, excuse me, with pinching the leg, have the guy have partners do this, walk through, and see I'm walking with my legs out. What is it? What is that? Pigeon toe or something like that as I'm walking, pinching it, getting real comfortable with holding on to that, and have them walk back and forth across the mat with that. Each day, just a little bit until they get very, very good with that. Now, in a wrestling situation, once I've come in here and snatched that, I'm going to start walking right backwards and start pinching as I go. So I've got not only one of my arms on it, because I'm and I let the other one go, but I'll have both legs on it, trying to hold that leg. Plus, I'm making him move, and that's what I really want. I want to make this man move. So as I snatch and start walking, immediately the inside arm of mine, that second hand, comes off, starts feeling around as I walk. And my head might have been up in here to begin with or something, but now I'm bringing it back up. I'm bringing it back up. And so as I do that and walk, I reach back and grab the very middle of his shoe, down in the middle. We've seen this before in some of the other moves I teach. So right here, and as I'm walking, I'm grabbing it and I'm pulling it up real tight in the crotch and making his laces go right up against my buttock over here on the side. Reason for that is, turn sideways now, he's going to have a fairly locked leg right there, and as I'm pulling up on this, it secures it right here. So he's not in good shape. Once I get to this point, then I can stop moving backward and start focusing on getting him down to the mat. So the way we go here is, if I snatch it back here, I'm trying to snatch it, walk, and see it only took a, chop, and now I've got it right here. And I pull it up tight. Now, depending on what this guy does, it'll sort of depend on what I do. Okay? If he is grabbing my neck, then I'll do that deal where you catch him. And I'll do the same thing that I did before, where I step around in front, even though I got this leg between my legs. I step around in front, kneel, and set him down. Boom, right there. Don't whip him. The beauty of this is, we're in good spot, right?
Yeah, for sideways.
Okay. Beauty of this is, my leg's inside now. So I keep a hold of that bottom of that shoe, step my leg up into the crotch, walk past his knee, and now I'm in this catbird position that I like to get in. And as he starts to turn away, that's what I want. I reach around here, catch his neck, pull him up, catch his pec, put my knee in there, and just sit back on my elbow and lift that other leg. I'm going to score big points right here. He can't get away from me because of the way this is, the way this leg is straight. Okay, this is a nice deal right here. Okay, so that's one thing. That's one possibility of taking him down. That's when he grabs me. Okay, I got this leg in here. Okay, he might whizzer me. I do. See, if I can't get all the way over his shoulder, I get the kneeling. Everything's the same. Step, kneel, make him sit down. Keep a hold of this leg. Okay, now, let's say I got a guy that's not grabbing me, and he's just a balance wheel. He's just really good at his hopping and stuff. So what I do is I attack him with my free hand. I come up, I smack him right up in the pec and in the shoulder. And where's his weight going? Okay, over on that other foot. I can really tee off on him with that open hand right there. That's not going to hurt anything. But where his weight goes, as soon as I do that, then I take my big step across and come down and sit down with him. And I might chop down on it. So I go smack, chop down, or I might, boom, pop that. Now, again, we don't want him to get through. So we want to try to block that off, step up in the crotch, keep this leg stiff, and start working on him right there. Now, if you didn't like to do this finish and you knew some catbird seat stuff, then you can just let go and you're in the catbird seat and you can do your cradles or whatever and pin him right there. I'd probably get points first and then maybe go in the catbird seat and get some more points or pin him right there. Okay, now, one other thing that happens here, and one last thing here, I just really like this. Okay, he sometimes will get a whizzer and get hop around, so that he starts actually getting some leverage on that. Okay, and so I'm going to try to post myself once. I'm making pop it again so I get the rhythm, and as he goes to pop it, I throw a limp arm, but I keep a hold of this foot. And what I do with my other leg, popped in with my other thigh right there. He goes right down. All right, stand back up. Okay, here we go. I got him here. He starts hopping around, and right there, as I feel that he's going to go and whip that thing right there, I'll turn my palm up, throw my arm out, keep a hold of his shoe, and I really pop the back of that leg as he goes down. down, he'll touch the mat. Now again, once he's down, let's do it once more. Real quick here. All right, continue here. All right, ready? Go. Pop. Right there. Now look, I'm pinching him and everything, and he's catching himself. All right, here we go again. See, step back across, lift, and try to get inside the crotch or something here. Start working on it. Don't just let him turn down. Okay, so attack his hips. Now, that's really all I like to do with that. I like to just get it and run, pull it up, and boy, it's worth something. I don't ever have to go off to a double or anything like that on it. It's very good. Okay, so those are, let's see, we did the sweep, we did the high crotch, we did the snatch, what I call the snatch. Okay, how's our time getting?
41.
Okay, now this time we're going to get into something that I just call it the fireman's family. Fireman's family. And I know there's a million ways to do the fireman's carry. Again, I'm going to stay true to what I normally am doing, and that is I'm stepping with the outside foot. And I know that many people today want to step with the inside foot. They actually want to throw themselves sideways on their knees underneath the guy. So I'm well aware of this, that they're going in here and they're throwing themselves on both knees at once, catching here, trying to pull down. Now, they don't have a tight arm in here. This is a loose arm, but the style that they're doing, they're taking him across my shoulders and neck and dropping him over here. And that's all well and good, and I don't have a problem with that. That is fine, and once in a while I do it. But most of the time, I will still step with my outside foot. And again, an inside position for the fireman's is what I'm going to have. My hands in here, my elbows pointed down. And as I do this, I don't want to get this arm underhooked. So it's very important that I can be maybe controlling a wrist or block it inside. And as I go, my outside foot steps. And again, what I'm trying to do is get my shoulder right to that hip joint again, right into the waist where he bends. Okay, and my arm that I use usually catches up. Let's turn this way a little bit. Usually catches up here on the thigh, pretty good. But I'm not worried about getting up inside. Now, if he starts to sprawl and I've caught him up here, that messes his sprawl up. If I grab up on his lower back, on his pelvis there, he doesn't sprawl real well. So that's not a bad deal either. But normally, I'm just grabbing it here. I'm just grabbing her. Okay. What's really important though is that I don't get turned and that I control this arm. So I'm going to go right here and try to show everybody how to control this arm. As I'm catching this, the tricep is being caught. Is that the camera?
Yep.
Right there?
A little bit extra.
Okay, right. And my neck needs to bowl back up under that armpit. Now, you got two opposite actions going here. My muscles in my neck and everything trying to bowl up in there real tight. This is trying to pull down real tight. And so I'm getting that motion right there. It's a hard motion for some guys to get comfortable with. But this is important because this guides what happens in most of this stuff right here. So I'm into that school of thought that I want nice control here. So to get good with this, come down on your knees here. Here's a drill right here real quick. And don't do a lot of these or you'll be sore at first. Okay, and that is step up and pull tight. That's your fireman's foot. Use your other hand for balance. Step up to the other side and arch and pull tight. That's a different feeling. That's going to be your outside fireman's or your dump foot right there. And then just alternate. There's one, relax. There's one, relax. And just keep going like that. Do a few on each side and start building that feeling up about how we want to pull tighter on the neck and everything. Now that's one way. Another way is to stand up. We're trying to strengthen this grip. And we just go in here and pull it around the neck, bend your knees, and just carry a guy around. You could hold onto his leg too. You got to be careful of my low ceiling, but everybody else will be good wherever you are probably. So that's another way to start getting this feeling, because you want that to be a wrench right there. You really want that to be a controller. Okay, let's turn back this way now. When I do my fireman's, the picture perfect fireman's for me would be shooting in, wrapping this around, just continue right on through here, and I would go to my outside hip. I don't want to fall back on my back, but as I wrap this around, I'm going to go on an angle onto this hip. Do we need to move this way at all?
No, no.
Okay. Okay, so right here, and I've got this trapped as this knee goes through, I'm going to pull diagonally toward my shoulder, toward his shoulder, and as I take him to the mat, he goes over my head. He goes past my head. Now I never, never, never let loose of the tricep. That's why I want to have a nice hold of that tricep. Right here is where I get my points. So if he goes free from my head, I'll pull my head out, and I'm going to make my arm go under his far arm and set through. I'm grabbing his shoulder. We're in what we call the over and under position right here. And we cover this whole series right here, over and under series, on our pinning tape. This is a great situation to be in. I never try to go for the head. Never, ever try to go for the head. Always want to go under here, over and under. Okay, let's just stay down here for a second. Let's say I'm down here, and somehow he catches me, and he's reaching around my back or something, and trying to trap me in here. Sort of sit up, yeah, like that. He's trying to trap me in, okay? So what I'm going to do is, I can't get my head up. So I'm going to pop my hip down to the mat, pop my head up to the side, and before I get back to my knees, I'm just going to lunge. I'm not going to get back to my knees. I'm going to dig my feet into the mat, and I'm going to lunge myself right straight across his chest here. And right here, I'm able to turn and go into the over and under. Let's go back this way a little bit. Okay, so let me get into this fireman's once more. Let's say he just falls right here, and he's trying to keep me trapped just like that. Okay, I'm going to pop myself to my hip and pop my head up under the armpit right there. And this is a very quick thing. I pop down, and then I just lunge right across, and then I can go into the over and under. Okay, so that's a nice little way to try to get out of that if he's trapping you up right there. Okay, that's the way I would like to do my fireman's. Now, I find that there's some awfully good other things in a fireman's family, and so I'm going to do a couple of those right now. Some of them are simple, some of them aren't quite so simple. The outside fireman's I really like, and I like shooting it from the feet. But a lot of people refer to this as the dump. I do. And it's great for when you're down on the mat, but it's also excellent from the feet. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to turn my back to the camera here. And as I shoot this dump, okay, a guy that has wrestled, sometimes that will hurt him because his body will automatically react to what I'm going to do. He feels me shooting my head through, and his body starts reacting back with that one leg. Now, if he throws both back, that's better. But a lot of times he won't. He'll start moving the one leg back because it just feels to his body like that's a fireman's coming. But we're not going to that side. Our head and everything is over here, but that's all. My step that I take is going to be to the outside, and my arm is not going to that leg that he was moving. It's got to go to the other leg. So as he feels me and starts to step back, if he doesn't bring the other one back, he's in real bad trouble. Even if he does bring the other one back, I can still get him a lot of times. Again, I try to wrap this around my neck good, and here's the two ways we can do this. The knee can go down, and I can spin on it, pull down on the arm, lift up on the leg, and just walk with my other foot until he falls over my head. And as he does, again, I want to hold on to that tricep, come up here, and catch it. Even if he starts to go ahead and turn all the way to the other. Yeah, like that. See, I've still got his tricep. Now I can come back, change hands, wrap up an arm bundle, step through Turk, whatever. I can lift this arm bundle and start going around, and you can look at our pinning tape for that stuff. So that's just an excellent situation, okay? Now that's one way. Let me put my back to the camera again, and you can stand up here. And so this other way is a little bit bit more comfortable for some guys, and that is to take this leg and slide it at a 45-degree angle approximately, so that your shoe, your laces, come behind your heel of your foot that's planted out, your lead foot. And then your hip is going to drop at an angle, and then I would have had control of his arm also, and that goes at an angle, and everything goes at an angle away from this foot, about a 45-degree angle. And so I've got this wrapped around my neck, I slide my leg, go to my hip, go to my shoulder, and there he goes. Now again, as I turn, I can push off his hip joint, and pull my head out, right there, and go into the over and under. I have another favorite one that I like to do, since I like to split crotch so well, and that is, as I take him down, I hold on to the leg all the way. I sit, he goes down, I keep holding that leg right here, and I go up onto my forehead, into a front bridge, and tippy-toe into his crotch right here, post out. Now he's in big trouble, right here. So I like that one real well. So that's another finish. Okay, that's our outside fireman's. And when we're down on the mat, let's say we're down here messing around, and all of a sudden I get underneath and I grab this right here. Now, so let's say I went for a double or something, and he sprawls and stuff, and I catch this right here. Now I'm set right now. What I've got to do though is drive up into him and step with that outside foot and try to get as much space up away from the mat as possible. He's going to continue to sprawl and stuff. Now right there, once I get him up a ways, then I can do that sit through and toss him right to his back. But I need to drive up into him. I need to fight up into him, stepping up with the outside leg, arching my head and shoulders, pulling that arm around my neck, and making him post and push back. When he does, I sit through, bingo. I dump him. Outside fireman's. Okay, now, let's just look at a couple other things here. I'm going to have my back to the mat again, my back to the camera, and we're down here. Let's say we're down here. It can be down here. I can even start this up on the feet. That's what's so funny about this. And I got my head under. I can have faked like I want to do a fireman's here, and he starts to sprawl back. Then I just put that hand right on the mat, sit, my hips right under my shoulders. I don't want them to go elsewhere. Must go under my shoulders. Get turned, and before I go down, shall we go over this way somewhere now? Are we good?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Before I fall down with this, I have to do one thing in order to get the takedown. If I don't do this, we're just going to face each other and there's not going to be any points. I've got to reach around with this hand that went on the mat and catch this dangly wrist. And I've got to pull it as I fall to the mat across my stomach. So I've got to hold on to this, pull it, and what I try to do is hook my fingers around his, what is that, your thumb blade, right? Is that your thumb blade? Yeah. All right, around the thumb blade, I keep a hold with my other hand here, my shoulder's under his armpit. This is an arm spin, but it's not the same as a normal arm spin. This is a fireman's arm spin, or I just call it a fireman's spin. And now I'm going to score, and everybody can learn to do this. As I go down, I'm putting that shoulder right to the mat. Don't let his arm turn. Don't let it twist through your hand. And right here, I'm putting pressure on that shoulder. I'm starting to lift my hips right here. And what I'll do is walk my legs away until I can feel like I can release the arm that was up on his tricep, catch his leg right there. Now, sometimes there's a head lever right there for me. Sometimes I'll come up and I'll run a chicken wing right here. And I'll get up and do a rotary breakdown or a chop or something, or pick an ankle with that. Sometimes I won't bother with the arms. I'll just start working on the legs, lift and step through, grab his neck, whatever. Okay? Now, the important thing is as I go in here, I'm going to fake him here, get space, sit here and grab this quickly. And then as I start to turn down, I've got to get it across me, right here. Don't let this thing turn in your hand or else he'll rotate and go around you. Hold it right to the mat, walk away. Now, if it's too tight, bump into him a little bit. Oh, he fell over. Just push him a little bit, then come bring that arm back through and cut him off. And now we're in business. We're going to score. Now, one other little trick here, and this is called the boopsadee. No, I'm sorry, this is buck-buck. This is buck-buck. And the way buck-buck works is, let's move back this way. I'll have this, and I'm starting to come around, and I'll have one of these guys, like Brendan, is sort of a wormy guy. And he's pretty athletic, and he's pretty agile. And, okay, all right, right here?
Yeah.
Let's go, I'm going to buck you toward the camera.
Okay, like...
So we need to turn to the right.
Like
Where's the camera, right there?
Oh, yeah.
We're good. Okay, so turn this way a little bit more. Okay. So at this point, I'm going down, and he feels like he could maybe step over and hook a leg or something. See that?
I love to do that when you don't grab the arm.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely. You get started, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm doing this, I'm watching for that. And I'm in here, and I keep my knee bent like that. Now, I can't get over, can I? But if he starts over with his hips, I go up to the side of my head, turn toward my forehead, and buck right there. Now buck him off. Now look, I haven't let loose of this arm. As I buck him off, I keep my head down, I let loose of the top arm and try to snag his head and go into some type of a front pin there, a front head and arm, or maybe sweep up the other arm and get a double trouble on that thing. Okay? Now, here's how you can get a little cute with the buck. Okay, come here. Right. Okay, I'm turning in here. Let's say I'm down here, and the guy's not acting like he's going to do a buck because my hips are up too much. I might lay down here, just on that thigh. Drop my hips, but be waiting, be poised with my toes on the mat. And if I feel that he starts to go, then I buck him right there and catch him. So you might could get a pin out of that doggone thing instead of just a reversal. So you have to play a little bit with it to get good with it, and that's the buck. Remember, do not let his arm turn through your hands. If you do, he's going to go around you, and he'll maintain control, or he'll get control. Or he'll square off with you, most likely, actually, in this situation. Okay, so that's the fireman's spin. Now look at how neat this is. If you could get good at the fireman's spin now, are we sort of in the middle here?
Yeah, we're on the tape at it.
Camera's here?
Yeah.
Right there, okay. Now, here's the deal. Let's say that we're wrestling up here, and I was really good at the fireman's spin. We're messing around, all of a sudden, I just shoot my head in here and just hold on to this and just fake like I want that. He's going to go back with his legs, go ahead, and I'm going to go right down, make my spin, and grab the wrist right there. Now, I'm just going to score right here. I'm just going to score. I got a takedown. Now, you tell me, if you got good at that, so that you felt like any time you could get in it, you had a chance to score, why not develop some ways that you're wrestling here, maybe cross wrist a guy, and all of a sudden shoot your head in here and just hold this like this, and fake him a little bit, and then go right down into that when he sprawls back. Or you could just take him down anyway. Just drop to your knees and start doing it. You could get into that position all the time if you wanted to on your feet. You could be very good. And if you got strong between your fingers and elbows, where you could grab that and really hold on to it like a vice, my goodness sakes. Points are just sitting there. They're yours. You can have those points. Okay. Now, a couple other quickies here on the fireman stuff. What time we got?
59.
All right. Now, I like this. This is a very nice little deal right here. Let's say I'm in here for a fireman's, and he's sprawled back, and I'm not doing well. I'm caught down, like I might have been up here, and he goes all the way back. And I'm not going to get that. So I post right here, post myself. I'm going to take my head from underneath his one side, his right side, and I'm going to bend my head down, go around now. Notice he's not double underhook. I got something else we have to do if he's double underhook. But he's just got this one arm under me. So as long as that is the case, I can drop my head down, make this knee come across and go on the mat here. And as I do that, I'll step up with the outside foot. Now look at where my head's going. It's actually going it's like a duck under. So I put my knee down, now I step up, catch with this hand on the leg, put him right to his back, and go into over and under and pin it right there. Now, you can name this whatever you want. I really don't have a good name for it. I should. But basically, I sort of look at it as an alternate fireman. Opposite side fireman or a change-off fireman. I've gotten caught under here. He's not double underhooking me. And I might even be on my knee at this point. So in this case, I'll just post with my hand, step up, and get my head right over here on this side. And I'll slide my knee, pick, put him on his back. Right there. Wonderful, wonderful move. So play with that. That change-off fireman's is a wonderful move under there. Okay, here's another idea. He's still not under my one arm here. So once I'm in here and I've reached around, let's turn this away for a minute. I reached in here and pulled his wrist off. Once I have his wrist off, immediately I can let go of his tricep, step up and grab right on that side. My head's right in there right now. And I'm going to try to start lifting, and then I can shrug my head and score. Right here, shrug my head right out of there and score. That's one possibility. Okay, so once I get in here, I could have done this from the feet. As we landed down here, I could have just grabbed right there. And as I start to spin, boom, I could shrug that off, and I'm going to score right here. Okay, that's one possibility. Now, watch this. I'm in here. Instead of stepping up here and grabbing that, I'm going to lean into him, turn my palm backwards, and my head is going to point over here, and I'm trying to block that far knee. It's the old knee tap, but it's on the opposite knee. It's on the opposite knee from what we're used to, and I'm using the opposite hand. So let's look at it again. The old knee tap used to be right here, where we would block here and try to make it fall over there, and then work our way up. But in this case, if I got this wrist in here, all of a sudden my head comes across, and I'm trying to knock him down there. Okay? You'd be surprised how you can catch a guy that way. Now, here's the fun part. You go between the two of them. You connect them. So we had the one where we would step up and grab the leg and shrug our head out. And we had the other one where we just did the far knee tap. So, let's say that we're in here and we try to get this, and he starts pulling that one leg away right there. This leg that I'm working with. All of a sudden, my head comes out and I try to knee tap right there. Okay? Let's say that I try to knee tap first. So I start to go here, and he gets his leg out of the way. Then at this point, I can turn back in and come up with both hands on this leg and reach through, or keep the wrist and do my shrug out. So in other words, if he gets his one leg away, his other leg is there to take. And you can just experiment and probably come up with some more stuff just on that same idea. Now, how did we start peeling that off? The reason why we start peeling these things is because the guy might have a double underhook. If he has a double underhook, we must not continue until we release one of the underhooks. If you continue, you're asking for trouble. There is one little way that I know where somebody can wrap back around and sit through and arch and turn it. You got to be pretty wormy, pretty good athlete, and you better hope that the guy you're wrestling is not. So I don't recommend that. I don't even teach it to guys. But this way that I'm going to show is a pretty doggone good way to deal with double underhooks. And I love double underhooks. If I'm the defender, I want to get into double underhook and work around and do some stuff on him too. But right now, Mr. Brendan's got the double underhook. I've got to break it. So I keep control. I could peel off either arm, but I really prefer to peel off the arm that is around my head. Okay? So I get my knees wide, squat my butt down, push my elbows in, and with my free arm, reach under here and reach around and get his wrist and pull it across. Now all of a sudden, He does not have a double underhook as soon as I do that. So now I'm back into that position we were just talking about. As soon as those fingers come off my side, I can step up and grab right here. And if he is caught close, I can let loose with my other hand now and just catch his other knee and just drive him down. I don't have to even nail my head out right there. It may surprise him so much that I trap his other leg before he can respond. Okay, let's come back. Let's look at it again. Double underhook. I get down low, pull that off. As soon as I pull it off, I step up and grab and do my thing. Or tail and do it here. Do my far side knee tap. Okay, so that's one possibility. Now, if I peeled the other one off, it wouldn't be quite as easy. In fact, I'd have to let go of this arm control. So I highly recommend always squat, pinch, and peel off the one that you got controlled. Okay, so that's just as easy as it can be. Now also, one other way to try to get out of the double underhook as he's starting to do it to me is to just bring this one arm back. And a lot of times this guy will not be patient and he'll reach around or something, and then you can start coming up. There's my dump situation right there. If I arch up and drive up into him and then sit through and take it. So, or my changeover alternate fireman's is right there. Okay, so that's a number of things about the fireman's. Fireman's stuff can be very important because this is one of those moves that gives you a combination move. Combination of arm, combination of leg, usually. And so we want to look at that to be something in that fireman's family that you get good at. And the fireman's spin is just so easy. Everybody can do that, starting at kindergartners. And you can be very successful with it if you just are disciplined. Make sure to grab the wrist, don't let the arm rotate through your hand, and move your body where it needs to go. And you'll be in great shape. In freestyle, you got to be careful. When you sit under there, you cannot let your shoulders go back, right? Brendan's probably found that out, right?
Stop doing that.
Yeah. But collegiate, no problem. And really, in freestyle, it shouldn't be any problem either if you did it properly, but you can't count on the referee. So I wouldn't take a lot of chances with that in the freestyle. Okay, now, how's our time here, Brendan?
7 or 8 minutes after.
Okay. Next thing here we go. We want to talk about duck unders. All right, and I just feel that duck unders are really underutilized, misused, underutilized, both of those, especially underutilized. And so the thing about a duck under is, what are we trying to do again? We're trying to beat one elbow. That's all, just one. So what do we have to do? We've got to get it away from the body, and we've got to get it out. That's what we got to do. And then here's the deal about a duck under. We don't duck our head down or anything. We change our level and try to make our head just buzz right under that armpit. I know it doesn't sound real appetizing, but just do it, okay? You've got to go right under that armpit. Any distance that you have that's further down from the armpit is wasted, okay? And really, a double leg is a duck under, except you're dropping your level. Here's a double leg with the head outside. It's just like a duck under setup. Any setup you can use for a double leg, you can use for duck under, and then there's more that you could just use for duck unders. Okay, for example, here's the inside position again. And if I pull with those fingers and step, right there it is. And as I pull, I got to be careful. I want to make sure to talk about this. I got to be careful that I don't pull and make my arm go around like that so that he could underhook me as I go under. I want to try to pull, and as I drop my level a little bit, instead of this hand rotating out, I want to pull and have it rotate in. So pull, and now he cannot underhook me very well in that situation. Okay, how do we try to set this up? We can do inside pulls. We can do elbow pulls. So grab my head right here. Elbow pull right here. Now I try to block inside if I can with this other arm over here. Try to block inside. And if I do an elbow pull, again, I'm pulling my elbow up in the air, pulling with the forefingers, and just trying to drop my level, take my one step right there. Now I haven't even stepped yet with that back foot, but I'm here right now into a chance to pin him. Now think about this. How many people do duck unders and think that they're going to pin the guy? I always think that I might pin him. Right here I start getting the idea that I might get a pin in just a few seconds. The way this works is I'm trapping his tricep out there. I always want to trap the far arm. My head is right under here, and I've got to get in the habit of stepping and arching back. This is another good reason for an outside step. I'm arching back, and I'm pulling this arm across toward me, and I'm arching toward it with my own neck and shoulders right here. So I've got his shoulders trapped right here. As I've got that, let's walk over this way now. As I've got that trapped, and that's the camera, right?
Oh, no, over there.
Okay, all right, let's turn around here then. All right? Okay, as I've got him trapped now, I've taken one step. This leg is not going to proceed. It's going to swing around and kneel. That's going to drop our level. As I do, I'm keeping his shoulders just trapped, just like this, and I'm going to be getting my other hand on his hamstring, right above his knee. And so as I swing this down, I'm going to stay in contact, pull him down with me. See, he steps on that one foot. Now I keep pulling, start lifting, tossing. I finger rolled that leg and trapped myself, blocked myself, posted myself, however you want to say it, over here with that arm that I pulled on the leg with. And I still have his tricep in my hand over here. Now, if he tries to roll on through, I've got him posted in a reverse half Nelson. Can they see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got him trapped right in here. If I didn't throw him real well and he lands on this side, then I can sit through, and I've got an over and under situation going. I got a half Nelson going. I can change hands and go into a half, change hands, and if he gets his arm down and go into a bundle, pick the leg, step through turn, split crotch, blah, blah, blah. Okay, got a lot of stuff right there. Okay, the whole point is I am going to lock his shoulders up and use the rest of my body to swing him down to the mat and not let go of his tricep. Okay, anybody can do this. This is not hard. Okay, where's the my back? I want to lay my back to that. Okay. So I'm in here, and we got space over here?
Yep.
Okay. And so as I'm going into here, right here, if I did a good job, he's already starting to fall forward. And so my back leg will swing around. As I drop my level, I'm grabbing his thigh. I keep pulling in and arching back. And he goes forward. Then I toss him, catch myself, and he's on his back. Duck unders should be done like this, so that we don't have to fool around up behind the man trying to get him down on the mat. I never want to go behind the man if I can help it. Don't want to go behind him. I want to get him down, so I use his leg to do it. Okay, that's the way I feel about duck unders. Now watch. If we're down, I like to do a lot of wrestling on the knees and different ways of getting the guy down. Okay, once we're down, I might post up out here. And I don't care how his legs are really, but usually if I take the offense here and post up on the side that I'm going to work on, he'll come up on the other side a lot of times. Okay, my hands are already inside, and I'll just push on him a little bit. And if I push on him and lift my elbows a little bit, if he pushes back at all, then I just drop that over and slide. I just take a quick step forward, slide my knee. Now here it is again, and I still put him on his back. I'll spin on this knee that's on the mat, come around, pick his ankle this time, or lower leg, and toss him right there, right to his back again. It's wonderful down on the knees, just wonderful. Watch, even if, is my back to the camera?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go again. I've trapped him in here. Even if this arm goes way on over, like that, I can still pick up the ankle, spin, and toss him over. Even when he was turned all the way down toward his belly, as long as I don't relinquish this tricep right here. I have tremendous power with that toss right there. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a little bit about the way that I like to look at duck unders. one other thing about duck unders is, let's say we get into a push-pull situation here, where I'm pushing over here on this arm, and I'm wanting something to happen over here. So I step forward, I push, and I pull on this one. Now I'm ready to step with that foot, with that lead foot. I have not put my weight on it. I've stepped it forward, but my weight's still back here in this leg. Now, if he drives back at me, I could just pull my elbow back and go in for a duck right there. Believe it or not, I could push, pull, he starts to draw back, and there's my duck right there. Again, I would pull this in, swing that leg around, catch his leg, put him on his back, spin him to his back. Now, let's say that I push, pull, and he doesn't push back real good with that arm. I push, pull, he doesn't push back. I just step and shoot my head through. Doesn't stop me. Doesn't stop me. Okay? Now, here's the funny one. Okay, I push, pull over here. Look where his other shoulder is. Okay? So now, I'll put my weight on that front foot, and I'll shoot my head through this near side and step with that other foot. And here we go again. So I can get him in big trouble. Okay, now, let's say we're wrestling and he grabs my wrist. I don't jerk it, but I just sort of point my elbow out, draw it out a little bit, but I got to be going. So as soon as we're wrestling, he draws out. There. I step and put my head right on it. Notice I've got his arm trapped over here on the other side. Okay, so we're wrestling around, and he gets my wrist right there. Okay. So those are the kind of things that I watch for duck unders. Okay, now, let's see. Duck unders, arm drags, kissing cousins of duck unders. How's their time?
17.
Okay. Now, I'm going to do 4 sit-ups for my arm drag, but I'm going to show the drag and the 2 ways I like to finish it. Number 1, this is just a great setup right here. A 2-on-1, down by the wrist, and you always want your outside, like if I've got his left arm, I always want my outside hand, his right arm, my outside hand is always going to be the top one. If I grab his left arm, then I'm going to change it, and my right arm is the top one. So I'm always high with my outside hand. And just have kids go back and forth and do this, and just get a habit, and within just a short time, they'll always grab it with the proper hold on it. Now, as I'm wrestling and I get this 2-on-1, what I will do is walk across in front of his left corner. A lot of times I try to get a little bit of an angle by moving toward a corner. And if I can get on this side of his head, this is where I'm going to be dragging him to anyway. I want to attack his left arm. He just doesn't know it yet. So if I already get over here close, I've got it really set up for me. If I'm over on this side trying to do it, then I've got to go past getting your position here. I got to get past his head sometimes, and I just got a lot further to go. So if possible, I like to be wrestling out in here, grab that wrist and walk a little bit here. Even if he squares up with me a little bit, see, I got my head on his left side, whether I'm touching him or not. I don't have to be touching him, but I might be touching him. Okay, now what happens is usually one of 3 things. When I pull this across and stop and pull it down, I've got my feet set so that my weight is pretty much on the back foot, so I can take a quick step with that lead foot. Now remember, I like to wrestle squared off, but right here, look what I did. I sort of stepped around and put that foot back behind so that I'm ready to step with that front foot right there. My weight's on the back foot. Okay, so I'm not in a squared off stance anymore at the point of attack. Okay, so as I walk here and pull down, not pull toward me, but pull down, many times, a guy will immediately grab that near wrist and start to peel it. That's just an automatic for many guys. As soon as that happens, I'm already stepping with that foot, and I'm stepping straight ahead, right past his leg again. That's my outside step. This top arm is running the wrist through his armpit. I'm not even grabbing with my hand. I'm just running my arm right to the armpit and hook it. All right, let's turn so that they can see here. Is this the...
Over.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right. See where I am right here. Right, bend over. Right here. I've got that hooked right there. Okay, so at this point, I've got that. All right, so here we are again. I'm down here, he grabs, I'm stepping in hooking. And this leg really gets going right away. And when you get good with this and messing around and stuff, you're pulling around, when you feel him start to come, you start stepping before he might even have his hand on you real good. And then there's the hook right there. And what I'm trying to do is get my shoulder to kiss his, to get right to his shoulder, right there. So I'm trying to get in here and hook that right there. Just hook it to the shoulder. I don't want that to be away from his shoulder. Shoulder to shoulder. Reason why? I can always get a leg now. And that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be taking my one hand and I'm going to be scooping this leg up. Whether I do the high finish or the low finish. If I'm down away from his shoulder, then he's got more space to walk away with his legs. He can get his legs too far away from me. So the farther away from the shoulder I am, the worse it is for me. Okay, so we're wrestling. I pull this down. He starts to peel. I'm right up in here, right now. Now at this point, I'm only taking one step. Usually he'll start to go around this way, to get away from me. Right, so I'm there. As he does, my back foot, my trailing leg, cuts him off. So go ahead and start to go in. It steps right across. Okay? And I bend, and when I feel that his weight is on that other foot, then I bend and lift. And as I lift, let's turn so that they can see. Okay? As I lift, I dipped, lifted at the knee, and I try to set the back of my hand on the top of my hip joint, right there, top of my pelvis, so that my leg is supporting that, not my arm. Okay? I still got him hooked here, and he's hopping a little bit, and then all of a sudden, I let go with this arm and reach right around and grab his hip, right there, and just suck his hip in, right there, his far hip. He's dead meat right now. We're going to take him down. Now, I got a couple choices. I prefer, you could do a swing and do a step through turn. It's a little more athletic. I prefer to do this. I pull him in, my feet are stopped, his feet are stopped. The leg that is right by his dangling leg, my leg, I step back with that, and I take a short little step with my other foot to put my heel right behind his leg. And then he goes down. You can see that we're in split crotch position. I take him down, put his seat down, then I post out with my hands, and then I go to work the penny. Right there. Don't slam him. Okay, so let's look at it again. This is the high finish. I'm wrestling, I pull down. This is my 2-on-1 setup. As he starts to go in there, I'm stepping and catching right here. I know he's going to circle away. And see, right at this point, he still has my wrist. But as he starts getting worried about the takedown, he'll let go, and I just jerk it out anyway, and then grab his leg with that arm. So as he goes, I step across, then when his weight's over on that other foot, then I lift, walk up into him, and then catch his hip. Now let's turn back around this way. Catch his hip, suck it in, turn, boom. So when I turn, it's a step back here, boom, he goes down. Okay, and you go down with him, make sure he lands carefully. Okay. The next thing is, that's the high finish, okay? Low finish, sort of like the high crotch low finish, sort of like that. And that is, I'll use the same setup. I step forward, but now I'm going to take my trailing leg and I'm going to step right across his laces. My toes pointed in, and the bottom of my foot is right on top of his foot, right on top of his shoe. And as I do that, I'm going to also sit myself. I'm going to squat, because about 4 or 5 things are going to happen at once. I'm stepping on him, I'm squatting, my drag arm comes out and posts. My knee that's connected to the foot that's stepping on him turns and posts. So both my inside arm and knee are going to be posting when this is over with. Sort of like the high crotch. And, okay, I've stepped on him here. I'm going to do the same type of thing with my outside arm as in the high crotch. I'm going to go through there, and I double up my fist so I don't get my fingers hurt. My bicep is going to pop in pretty good. And my back leg is also going to do the same thing as in a high crotch. It's going to hit the back of his lower leg. So there's 2 things hitting him in the back there. He's going down. He'll end up just like this. and we do the same kind of thing that we did in the high crotch. I'm grabbing his ankle, I'm spearing through, and then I'm not even looking. I'm just coming up here and starting to work on him with my arm of terror, right here. Trying to go head hunting, right there. Okay, so let me just do this a little bit. And we're wrestling, we're pulling his head down, we're messing with it. I go right here to my setup, my right foot's ready to step right now. So I would step, and now I would step on that, squat, and as I do, I just pop right there. And you really belt him. You really belt him. As soon as I land, go right over here and start coming right up. See, my head stays right in there against this hip joint. I'm trying to stop him from turning until I can grab something serious up here. Okay. All right, one more time. I'm messing with him. I'm going to do a different setup now. I'm going to pull his head down. Okay, let's turn like this. I don't like to get a guy's head, hardly at all, unless I can do something to get it down below me. And so as I do this, if I want to drag his left arm, then I'm going to take my right hand to do this, because I want his left hand to come up like that. He's grabbing my wrist there. Some guys will do this, some guys will not. If they won't do it, then you got to do a different setup. But right here, I'll hold this down. I'll put my fingers on this side of the neck, and I'll just try to hold it down right in here. And I need this other hand to be in here blocking him off too. And I just try to hold him right this, down below my head. And usually what he'll do is he'll roll his head that way and pull that off. Look at his arm. Drag. Right there. So when I get ready to do this, I've got to, once I grab my position, I got to have my feet set and everything. We're messing around in here, messing around. All of a sudden, see, my feet are set right now. I'm ready to step right now. Now, as soon as he grabs it, I don't step. I hold tight and really make him pull on that thing. And as he's pulling, now I got it. Now I step and get him. Same thing, my shoulders to his shoulder, and I can do whichever finish I want. High finish or low finish, right there. Okay, so this is a good setup. And we're messing around, pulling up. He starts pulling up. There it is. Actually, I went a little fast on that one. Usually I make him pull a little bit harder. Okay, now, that's two setups. Here's another setup. I'm wrestling in here. We'll turn this way. We're wrestling, and I do what I call short arm this guy. And I use my V here to do this. And I'll slide back, and I'll start V'ing him down here by the crease of his elbow and jam him back. And a lot of times, guys will go over top with this arm, or they'll grab me outside with that arm right there. And as they do that, and they, for some reason, they fight back. Now see, if he didn't fight back right away, I duck him. That's the cousin part of this, the kiss and cousin between the arm drag and the duck under. But right here, if I push him back and he starts to fire back, then all of a sudden I go down. See, if I know that he's grabbed me, or if he's hanging over top like that, I just cross my waist with this arm. And his arm comes into arm drag position right there. And you've probably seen guys that like to wrestle with, like if I block his shoulder, if I find I'm wrestling one of these guys that's always trying to put this arm over my arm, I'll block his shoulder and he'll just put that arm right there. He'll feel comfortable. As soon as he does that, I drop my arm and drag it. He's gone. As soon as I identify that I'm wrestling a guy like that, as soon as I identify that if I grab here, guy wants to come there, then I'm going. Now, if he doesn't do it, I won't do it. I'll do something else. But I'll look, I'll check him out. And, you know, if I'm down in here, if he reaches in there and peels, I'll get him right away. So there's three setups right there that we do for the drags. Give you different looks. I give you 5 of them instead of 4. I'm over here working with this arm. We showed in the first series how we do cross wrist.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So once I get a cross wrist over here, I might dip and start walking right back up under this guy like this. Now this is sort of disconcerting. We're wrestling, I get this and I start jamming this right up into it. Now number one, if that's jammed there, I can just drop in for a fall-in double or attack a single leg over here. But what I can also do is get a drag if he does the wrong thing. I start walking up in it, and if he starts to reach in and peel that off like that, I just drop it down, and there it is. So as he starts to peel, there's my drag again. I drop it down, step and drag, and then my arm will come out. It's not a problem. Don't worry about your arm coming out. A lot of guys do. Don't worry about it. It'll come out. Okay. So we're messing around, push up in here. And if he starts to peel that off at all, there it is. There's my drag. Okay. It's a wonderful one. Okay. I get guys on that I can't get on the other ones. Okay. And then the last one, this is sort of interesting. We're wrestling, and I'll pull back my wrist. Right in front of him. See, I was wrestling, I pushed on the inside, then I just pull back. Now right there, some guys will grab that and some guys won't. Guys that will grab it, they don't necessarily know why they grab it, but it's just there. It's in their hand, and they grabbed it. Now if they grab it, I don't yank it. I don't want to yank it out of there, but I'll just start dropping it like that. I'll just start crossing it. Once I get to the midsection, then I'm gone again. I make my step and go. Got to make my step. Don't grab first, step first. At least equal, but try to start your step a little bit before you grab. So I'm messing around. I put my wrist right there. Some guys will grab, some guys won't. If I put my wrist there and they don't grab, I don't do it anymore. That's the end of that. I do something else. But if he grabs, I just nonchalantly start to drop it, and all of a sudden I go as fast as I can. Right there. Nonchalantly drop it. Don't give it away, and then all of a sudden nail it right there. Okay. Could I do this, and if the guy grabs it, extend it into a duck? Sure. It's probably easier than the arm drag. Look what I'm doing. I'm messing around. I'm still blocking over here. So he's not going to shoot on me very well because I got his shoulder blocked right there. And as soon as he grabs that, all I'm going to do is go like that and dip and step right there. It's just a very slight thing. So we're wrestling around, right there. Right there it is. If I just get him to grab it. Okay. So those are some ways that I do the arm drag. Now, if I get him down on the mat, I feel like he's dead meat with the arm drag. I get his head down here, he comes up there, boom, and I slide that knee now. Look where I slid it. Right straight forward, under his body, and now I'm into our bulldog situation, right here. Or reaching under here and inside ankle. You know, I'm just really deep right there. I don't want to go behind, I want to do a bulldog. So get back down here. We're wrestling. See, I step up on the side, I want to attack. Right here, there's the drag there. I could even do this one, believe it or not. I can pull it down, and there it is again. It's just really easy to do that one down there. I can mess around. I get a lot of the short arm right here. And, you know, if he doesn't push back right away, I step and duck him. Right there. I'm coming. If he pushes back right away, then there's my drag. Right there. And then, again, I can duck him, you know, I go here, and if he doesn't, give me what I want over there, I may put that knee down right there, and I may duck right over here to this side. Or here's the leg that I'll attack. Okay, so that's good stuff right there. You can really burn them with this stuff. Okay, that's the arm drag business, and that if you do an arm drag, and get halfway decent at it, whether you are successful or not in the first period, if you show an arm drag. If you're wrestling a good guy, then we'll try to make adjustments. The rest of the match, chances are you'll get in on singles and doubles easier because they're going to have their arms back in here a little bit more if you're messing like you're going to do some drag, and then you can step in and attack their legs easier. It's just the way it works. It's really nice. Okay, how are we doing time-wise?
34.
Okay. Now, snap downs. Go right along with this stuff. And I don't see a lot of snap downs. Only when a guy maybe shoots on you and extends himself and doesn't do a very good job with the takedown do I see snap downs being done. And I have a rule that if I were coaching, we would evoke this rule. But right now, I'm just teaching, and so I don't have any way to force it. But I try to get the kids to understand, if you're wrestling somebody that is showing you the top of their head, forget about everything else you were going to do and do a snap down. But that means you've got to be able to do a snap down. And here's the deal. When I do a snap down, you can do it with either arm. Again, I favor you chopping with the left arm because the guy's not used to that left arm being used on his neck. And when I chop, I'm going to be coming over, chopping with my little finger blade right around the wrist area. If I were to let my hand flop, it would cover his left ear. My left hand would cover his left ear. And I'm just chopping, and I'm not necessarily chopping straight down. I'm sort of chopping down to the side, right here. Now, that's actually the side I'm going to be going to. But I still like to chop to that side. I don't like to try to get all the way around and bring him back the other way. I like to try to chop him down and then go around him. So I want to be doing all the traveling here. I don't want him to travel at all. So I'm wrestling here. If he happens to show me the top of his head, I'll just get my hands inside and then I'll bring both hands up. And I call this the meat hook. My elbows bend, I bring both hands up because it's a two-handed deal. One for the chop on the neck, one for the tear on the back of the tricep. And this is the one that gets overlooked. You see, remember we got to beat an elbow. Which elbow? It's going to be this one right here. His head is important, but not that important. I got to beat his elbow. I got to get past his arm. And so I have to tear this loose. If I chop his head and he still holds on to me, then I can't get away. I can't go around him. I need him to take that hand and make it go to the mat so that I can step, drop my chest on him, stand, and not reach around his waist. And start to grab ankles and do bulldogs and stuff like that and get him in trouble right on the side. If his hand doesn't go down, I don't go around. He's got to stop me. So when I do this from the feet, okay, thank you. When I do this from the feet, I'm noticing that the top of his head he's looking down a lot, and all of a sudden my hands go up and I'm banging right here. And of course, the tighter they get, the easier it is too. And as I bang, I'm going to actually be stepping. So when my hands go up, watch, my foot lifts up with them. My knee lifts up, and I'm stepping diagonally to the side right here. So my hands go up, my leg goes up. My hands go down, my foot steps. So I'm already starting to go outside them. Now when I pop them down, my other leg is going to go where? Around. If it doesn't, they're going to get me. They're going to get me. So here we go. I'm wrestling. I see the top of his head. All of a sudden my foot comes up. When my hands go up, my foot goes down. When my hands go down, and I swing around. Boom. I'm not there anymore. That back leg swings behind. Okay? So we're wrestling, or messing around. Here's a great setup. Even if a guy won't tilt his head very well for you, you're wrestling, and you want to try to do a snap down, you think he's a little tired, pull his wrist down. And that'll bring his shoulders forward, and he may bring his head into position so that now, and he might have been taller than you too, now you can lift your hands up, lift your leg up, step, top, swing. Right there. And there you go. Okay, so when I'm on my feet, here's the situation. I'm on my feet, I pull them down, boom, right here. Now, I don't want to go any farther behind right now. I want to start looking at trying to toss this guy over somehow, bulldogging across, reaching underneath for his forearm, whatever. And notice I'm grabbing his hips. I'm grabbing that near leg a lot of times to toss him and to control his hips so he doesn't spin out away from me. Okay, that's if we're standing up. If we're standing down here, we're wrestling here. Now, as I pop in here, again, I step forward, and now my chest hits him, and I spin around like that. I do that knee circle situation. Okay. All right. And so as I pop down, step forward, drop my chest on him, knee goes to the mat, and the other leg is going to go around like that. That's my knee circle. If he ever catches my leg, no, he won't catch that one. He catches this one, now I cross-face him, catch it far, or near ankle, toss him over. He's in a world of hurt right now. So sometimes you sort of want him to get that trailing leg because they really put themselves in bad position. Okay, where are we here? We good?
Yeah.
Right here? Yeah. What's our time now?
40.
Okay. Now, so that's the way I view the snap down. Wonderful, wonderful situation. Wonderful move. And you can really, by taking the double wrist pull, you can really get guys in a position for that. Now, let's say I do this to somebody and they don't go down. They don't go down. Okay. I'll just stay right in here like that and make him fight back, make him fight up. You know, if he starts bowling his head up and trying to pull away, say, I'll just stay right in here. And finally, if he pulls real hard, I'll take a step. Now, this is one of the few times I would step with my inside foot. See, I'm on the corner right now. Go ahead and pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. Boom, let go. And I step in here real deep with this leg. And I think I showed how to finish this in one of the other tapes, but I would pop them up, pull the legs around, keep my shoulder in his gut. Yep. And back here. Okay, I was in here. I would pull them up, swing the legs, drop them, knock the wind out of them right there, and then turn and pin them right there. So that's the way I would pick them up from there. Now, that's what I would do if he didn't go all the way down. If I caught him and got his head down like that. Okay, let's see. It seemed like there was something else along those lines that I noticed a while ago when I was going to talk about, but can't think about it right now. Okay, can't remember. Okay, what's our time now?
41.
I caught you in the middle of a yarn, huh? Okay, 41?
Yes.
Okay. Could you check our sheet for us
Yeah.
real quick and make sure? I'm sort of doing some things in an order here. Is this the chancery?
Oh, do we do the swing down?
We'll do the swing down.
And the Russian swan.
Okay, and then the chancery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that might have to go on another tape, some of those. But
Okay.
here we go. Here we go. Swing down. This is something that I've been messing with the last few years. I sort of had some fun with it. I'm wrestling in here, and I cross wrist. So I drop my arms, I step toward the arm that I want to catch, and I catch that wrist right there. Now, as I do, I continue on around and try to reach around and catch his armpit on the far side. And I'm just sort of hugging my chest to his shoulder. Now, as you can see, I'm almost around this guy right now, but I don't have control of his hips. So as I'm doing this, I'm going to go, and he's going to square off with me. He's going to, start facing me, that kind of stuff right here. Now, as he swings his hips out, I can step and swing my knee down to the mat and pull and try to get him to put his hand down on the mat. If I can make him put his hand on the mat, I'm going to score probably. So it's just that goofy. So at first, this guy doesn't particularly think he's in trouble. So as he starts to go around, I'm going to try to just swing right there and make him go down. And I can pull real hard with the hand. Let's go back to your wrist. I can pull real hard with this hand on the wrist. Now right here, I know he's going to go out, so I just sort of hug him. My chest is on the shoulder. My other hand is on that armpit, and I want to swing and go down with my knee. I don't want him to try to step back across me. So by doing this, he's not really able to. Once he starts to swing out and face me, now I can pull him right down, because his hips are going out and away, and if I can lean on him and yank him, get my weight on his shoulders a little bit, his hips are going the wrong way. And so he hurts himself by trying to swing his hips out away and be bent over too. Okay? So one more time. So you can see how we're doing this. I'm just right in here, and boom, I just lean on. And I score immediately with that thing. Just crazy stuff right there. Make him touch the mat, and I score. Okay? So that's what I call the swing down. Now, here's a little sort of different aspect to this, and that is I'm going in here, and instead of reaching around like that now, if I go in here and pop his head down, especially if his head was low. Now look, I've still got that wrist. I popped his head and hooked his head right here. As soon as I hook it, I take a big step, catch his back of his back of his hamstring, and my trailing leg swings around again, goes to the mat, and here we go. He's going down, and I'm going to start cradling this boy right here. This is so goofy, but it works. Okay, so you've got your back to the camera now, right? We're wrestling. I get this. Instead of going all the way over here for the swing down, I don't know what we should call this, but it's sort of like the swing down, except I'm just going to pop your head and get right here. And now right here, I'm just going to keep coming and swing this leg. Boom. He's going to go right there. It is too easy. Too easy. Okay. Now, here's another situation. Let me think about this. Well, I think I'll hold this other one for the I've got a miscellaneous tape coming up. Okay, how are we doing now?
45.
Okay, so let's see. Swing down, and then what was next? The Russian stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're starting to get into some of the same stuff here. Now, once we get into the Russian type of tie-up, okay, let's walk back this way. So I'm going to drive you toward the camera. Okay. One style is to raise the forearm and the elbow up and be pushing like that and try to make the man hop sideways. And take a big step behind him with your lead foot, trying to get just over his closest leg, like that. As you do, his weight is going to go on that other leg, and you're going to pick up this ankle right here. Your hand that was on the wrist, you keep driving with the forearm up in the armpit. Your hand that was on the wrist picks this up. Here we go. You can wrap it, and you can do your stuff right here. That's sort of a nice thing. Now, if you're strong in your hands, from your elbows to your fingertips, and you start going here, what's a guy going to do a lot of times? He's going to try to turn and face you and get his hips away from you. As he does, this hand that was up under the armpit comes down on that tricep again, step and yank right down. Yank his hand right down to the mat and try to get around behind him and score. Now you have to time it, and you need a little strength, so that as I'm going here and he starts to spin around, get away right there. You really got to bend your knees and yank them straight down at the mat. Don't try to throw them sideways. It's no good. Yank them straight down. Make them touch the mat again. That's a real shock to him right there. Because again, why? His hips are going away. His hips are spinning away. Okay. Also, if he starts to turn into you, here's a fireman's situation. Now, I did the same kind of fireman's I normally do. I stepped first, and then I slid my knee in. Right here. Now I got him up in the air. This is a different kind of a finish now. Once I pop him and bring him up in the air, now this leg that's up, I swing it back and drop him and pop my hand on the mat. When I bang my hand on the mat, it jars him free a little bit. Keep the tricep and get this boy in trouble right there. So again, as he starts to rotate out, I swing in for the fireman's. Also, you can do a high crotch situation too. I start to go here, and he starts to swing out. Here's your high crotch stuff right there. So that's a nice situation. One other thing about this type of series is I start to throw. If he starts to turn and face me again, I can put my ear right behind his tricep or by his elbow there. And then I would take an inside step. Again, once in a while, I'll take an inside step. So I'm back in here. I'm back in here. Start to go. He starts to run away from me. I take an inside step. See, I put it right here. Take an inside step right between his feet. But I'm not going to go to my knee. Just inside step up in here. And I can finish that. I could go down and finish with the same kind of lift that I did a minute ago. Or I can just bend and lift him right there. I don't like to do that a lot. So I might just cut him or might chop him, something like that. Okay. So that's your another double leg situation right there. Okay, now that's one style. How's your time?
49.
Okay. Now watch. I'm in here like this, and I'm just holding, and I got my shoulder right up next to him. All of a sudden, this hand comes up and goes right on top. The one on the wrist comes on top of the one that's on his muscle here. And what I do is I just jump up with both feet and really plunge my hips down like that. I really do. And I'm trying to yank him right down to do what? Violently get his weight up on his toes. To plant his feet. So we're in here, all of a sudden as I catch this, I just, boom, right there. Just trying. You know, now if he touches the mat, that's wonderful. But I figure he's going to catch himself right there. Now as he does, I'll pull my top hand out, drag this. See, they were both here. Pull my top hand out, drag that, and this hand right here will come around to his hip joint and try to force him down to the mat. I did not take my body away from it. I was in here like this, and I pull him down. Now right here, I keep my shoulder right against him. Boom, boom, right here. There's a score for me right there. Now the guy that showed it to me was a Granby guy, and what he did was he pulled down, guy posted, started to pull back. He stepped behind him and did a head in front leg tackle, a double right there. Okay? So he knocked him right down with a leg tackle. All right, here's another one. Let's say the guy starts to take that hand and come over here and mess with that. This top hand of mine catches his tricep. Now, I've got no interest in holding on to that tricep. But what I'm trying to do is to make him react. So as soon as he goes over there, I start to do that. He starts to pull back, and he's going to let loose. Yeah, he's going to let loose. See what he's doing? See, he thinks he's going to get caught. So he starts to pull back, and I drop and tackle him again. Right there. So I get right into him again. Or I could pick this single leg here and walk it around. Okay, start backing up. Okay, so that's another possibility here. Okay, now I like to do this. If I'm up in here like this, and I can start walking around, and I pull up on this. Here's a different style again. I pull up with my thumb side blade, and I start walking around like this. Now right now, see, if I pull this around against my chest or against my belly here, top of my belly, bottom of my chest, like that, and hold it, he's got to go with me right here for a little while, okay? And so I'm walking around right next to him, just, sidecar right here. Now, let's say I come back around and face the camera now.
Yes.
Here's what I do. This arm has been up, and I've been straightening him up for a few steps. I'm just going to drop that down. That gives me a hole right there to drag. As I drop that down, now look where my shoulder is. It's on the back of his arm right now. As I drop it down, this hand is going to go right through there. My chest stayed right there. My chest and shoulder stayed right against him. And this arm rotates just like we did a minute ago when we were down on the mat. Rotates around, catches his hip right here. Catches him right on the side of the hip. And again, once I catch him, I step behind, swing down, and he goes down. And if I need to pop my knee against the back of his knee to help him bend down, I'll do that too. Okay, let's look at it again. This is crazy. I will have been walking around with this thing. Let's walk around. Walk, and all of a sudden, I drop that, catch this. So the motion is drop, catch, and I catch him over here, and then I step, and there's that knee right there. I step, there's the knee, swing this knee, bring him down. He has to reach for the mat. I've got a hold of him too tight. It's just crazy stuff. I'm going to be behind now, right here. Okay, I'm up in here. Catch, so you can see where this is going. I want them to see the rear.
Okay, right there.
Okay. So right up here, catch, step and block him right there, but swing the other leg. So you stay up here. And then fold up, right there. Fold up. Okay, what's our time?
54.
Okay, now here's one of my favorite ones. This is a different style again of using the Russian. Are we good with this tape here?
Yeah.
Lined up?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to get on this and raise up on my toes and get my shoulder to press down on his shoulder. I'm going to get it at a little bit of an angle so that my forehead goes right in his neck joint, or the side of his neck. I'm going to hold on to this tight, pull it down, and try to get him to bend over. And this shoulder has to practice on really driving down, really stretching his shoulder. You got to get very good at this. And your head is right in here, right there. I got pressure on him right now. At this point, it's a fake job. Let's turn around so we can see this. Okay? It's a fake deal. My foot's ready to step. My weight's on my other foot. So my closed foot is ready to step. I'm going to grab his hamstring like I want that. Haven't moved my shoulder, haven't moved my head. I just grabbed that. I don't really want it. I've never grabbed a guy that didn't pull his leg back. And I scored. Right there. So the way that this works is, the harder he pulls back, the easier it is, by the way. Okay? I got to get him to this position. He's bent over, he's got his weight forward. I grab that. When that leg goes back, my left foot steps forward with it. So when I feel it go back, I step. That's my step. Then this arm comes across and pounds him right there as I swing my other leg out of the way and point his elbow or his hand to the mat. Right there. I call it the slide by. The slide by. I've got other things I call slide bys, but they're down on the mat. So right here, this is my Russian slide by. And it's so cool because it doesn't take any energy. I just grab, he goes back, I step, boom. I just score it. Right there. All I have to do is get past his shoulder a little bit. Remember, we're beating his elbow again. So this is just so easy to do. So much fun to do that. Okay. Now, let's see. Oh, there was something else here I want to do with the Russian. What was it? Trying to think. Oh, yeah. Okay. We'll turn this way here. A lot of times I like to cross wrist and fake like I want the Russian. He starts to circle around and I dip and come up in here. All right? So I keep the hold of this wrist right here. As soon as I come up tall, I'm stepping forward with my lead foot. I try to get right next to him with my thigh. So I get him jacked up in the air, and now I let go of everything and just put this knee on the mat and do a double. I turn my ear in. I don't turn my head anywhere. Turn my ear in, drop down. There's my double right there. Very, very nice way to set this up. So I'm wrestling. I get this cross wrist. I pretend I want the Russian. He starts to circle away, and I dip right there. Then I'm just trying to bring my hips up under him. Even if he's trying to stay away with his hips a little bit, I'm trying to get up under him, jack him up, and as soon as I get close here, then I just drop right here. And I got that. Okay? It's not a bad way to do a takedown. It gets you right up in here, and you're safe. He's always on the defensive. Okay, where is the
Your left.
camera? Right here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's our time getting to be?
57.
Okay, let's see now. One other thing that I want to touch on, I want to go back to, like when we were doing the setup for the arm drag. Okay, go ahead and block my shoulder now. A lot of times if they don't peel the wrist, they'll block the shoulder or they'll block the head. Either one works the same way, and that is my bottom arm now, my near arm, is going to block above his elbow with my forearm. And the foot that I was going to step with, I could still step outside, or this might be a situation where I point that foot inside, block, and go right through here for a nice double. Okay, let's get back out here. So I'm either going to get, I'm either going to get the arm drag, go ahead and peel. I'm either going to drag him and step, or if he blocks there or blocks my head, I'm just going to pop and go right through him, right here. And again, this would be the kind of lift where I would pop him up, spin him here, drop him down, and keep my shoulder in his gut, and pin him. Okay, so that's something I want to mention also. How's our time now?
58.9.
Okay. Now, here's another thing about this two-on-one business. Go ahead and get it on me. Just on the wrist, two-on-one on the wrist. If I feel that the guy is starting to get two-on-one on the wrist, what I want to do is shoot my head through this hole right here. I want to shoot it through the hole, step with a foot that's away from the arm that's trapped, and reach around. And right here he starts letting go usually, and I got a double right here. Okay, so I'm always going to attack. Let's say he's got this other wrist. Okay, my head's going right through here, and I'm coming right in and attacking him. So you always shoot your head through the hole and use your free arm and the leg on that side to step and try to attack his leg on that side. And so that's a good way to deal with that. Okay, what else we got? What's that? What time is it now?
It's 59. So.
Okay. All right. One other little thing here. Let me try to get something else in here. when, let me see, what's one of my goofy ones? Okay, I think let's say he's getting my leg in the air right here. This is going to be a little counter situation. I'm always trying to put his head outside and his shoulder outside, reach around his back and trap him, hop forward, sit down, look over your inside shoulder, and toss him over. Okay, so my leg's in a crotch. So I'm right here, catch his tricep, sit down, take him over, and make your legs come out the side, start clawing or face lifting. Did we get out of the camera range or not?
No, I think we got it.
Is it still going?
Yep.
Let's do another one.
It's going over here.
Okay, yeah. With your back to the window.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, he's got my leg. I push his head outside, his shoulder outside, hop forward, trap around him, catch his hamstring, sit down, kick him over, get your legs bailed out, score. Right there. Now again, that's something I'd rather not be